Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to stamp a birthday card with the Pretty Perennials Bundle. And I want to say, if you're watching this as a recording later on, please feel free to fast forward to the part where I actually get to stamping. Sometimes I talk at the beginning so that when I'm doing it live, all the people that want to watch it live can get a chance to get on before I get on to the stamping. So please feel very free to fast forward if you want. Yesterday in the morning, I hurt my wrist, and so part of this video today is going to be me sharing how I'm going to be stamping a little bit more gingerly, and that just reminds me I need to print out while I'm waiting to get on. I'm going to print out a little page. I wrote down some notes on some tips that I could use. Hopefully my printer is going to kick in there, on how to circumvent or help when you're stamping with a stamping injury. And here's my sheet. Let me grab it. We always have to forget one thing on a video, don't we? Otherwise it wouldn't be a live video, right? So what happened yesterday was I picked up my laptop and I grabbed it on the one end rather than kind of in the middle, and so it twisted my wrist rather severely, and it hurt for a second, and then I forgot about it. And it's only really with certain motions when I really stress it and twist it at the same time that it hurts. But the other thing that happened yesterday, I was making lunch and I had these blueberries washed in a bowl, and I picked it up and I dropped it, and I was like, why did I just drop this bowl? Look at this mess that I made. I have to share with you. This is what happened yesterday on my tile floor. I was so upset. I love blueberries so much, and I couldn't eat any of these blueberries because I wasn't sure if they had shards of glass in them. And so I was so upset, and I'm like, I didn't know why I dropped the bowl. And in the middle of the night, I woke up and my wrist was so sore, it woke me up. And then I realized that, you know why I dropped the bowl? It was because of my wrist. So I didn't sleep very well last night. So I'm sorry if I'm a little bit of a mess today, but it's because of my wrist. I kept waking up and I finally took an Advil, and that helped a lot, but I had to keep my wrist really still. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on. If it gets worse, I'll go get it x-rayed. I might have a hairline fracture, or it just might be a sore wrist. I'm not sure. But I'm going to do everything today, just as long as I'm not in severe pain. I'm going to do things to mitigate the pain, so hopefully it won't hurt as bad as, hopefully I'll share with you some tips on how we can stamp if we have an injury. Now, of course, if your doctor tells you do not stamp or do activities like that, do not stamp. But sometimes we have a little injury or soreness one day, or maybe you have arthritis and you're working through it. So maybe some of these things will help with that as well. Okay, today's Casing Tuesday. So today's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. So let me show you what today's card looks like. Nope, that's not it. This is it. This is today's card, and it's a great card. I love that big greeting area and that banner in the background on an angle. It's so much fun. I love it. So here is the sketch, just to kind of give you an idea of what the different layers would look like. And you can use these as a guide, and you don't have to use all the layers. But if it were me and I was stamping a card from the ground up, I would cut myself little scrap paper, computer paper layers like this, and lay them out and then work it like a puzzle. And then you can just fill in the layers as you go along. All right, I am going to come over here. So I'm going to show you my card in just a moment, And good morning to everyone who's joining me this morning. So good to see you. I'm going to talk to you all at the end because if I get distracted with you now, I will never finish this card. And guess what? I designed a card that has a ton of stamping on it. And I never would have designed a card like this if I known my wrist was going to be sore. So I'm going to try and muddle my way through it. So let's see how I do. Let me make sure everything's on. Let me make sure my camera's on. Okay, let me switch over here. Okay, let's put this up here. Here's my card for today. And it's this cute card made with the Pretty Perennials Bundle. And this beautiful paper in the background here is not actually paper. It is stamped images. So I'm going to show you how to create that beautiful background with stamps. And so sometimes we don't have paper in the colors we want, so we can create our own paper. So that's what I mean about being very stamping intensive today. So I hope you like this card. I'm using the Pretty Perennials Bundle, and that's this bundle right here. And when you buy this together as a bundle, you can save 10%. And if you want to make this card, you will need the Pretty Perennials Bundle. You'll need these beautiful watercolor images in the background. And then I'm using one of the die cut shapes from here as well. And these labels, I think these are kind of an essential labels for the Stitch So Sweetly dies. These are just great labels for your cards and 3D projects. The one we're going to be using today is one of the scallop layers. Okay, one other thing I need to tell you is I have a tutorial. This is my latest tutorial, and I used it on my my special, but now it is available as one of the tutorials you can choose for free when you place a purchase of $15 or more in my Stampin' Up store. You can also buy it separately, but I don't know why you would want to do that if you can get Stampin' Up products plus get my tutorial for free. But this is one of the boxes, the card holder boxes that you can make, and the other one is in landscape mode. So it's just a really pretty way to hold your cards, and it also comes with a PDF that you can print out for these little labels down here. Okay, I thought I'd just share that with you real quick. Nice stamping surface. It's so clean, right? All right, let's get to the hardest part. Probably today is stamping for me. So when you're stamping and you have a sore wrist or something like that, first of all, you don't want to create a card that has a lot of stamping on it. That's probably not a good idea. Why don't you use paper instead? Use some pretty paper instead of doing a stamping background. So I would not recommend this card if you have a sore wrist right now. But if you do want to do this background stamping, you will start off with a piece of basic white, not the thick basic white. The thick basic white is what we're going to use for our card base because it's thicker, okay? And so my card base here is 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches and scored in half at the 5.5 inch mark. This is my base. Well, you will find with the thick basic white that it's got more of a coarser texture on it. It's not smooth like our basic white. Our basic white is thinner and it's meant as a stamping layer. So it's got a nice smooth texture on it. So that's the first thing you're going to want to pick, something that's good to stamp on. So don't use just regular white cardstock. Choose a white cardstock that leaves good impressions. So when you use good products, then it's easier to create good designs, okay? So if you have like an injury, you want to use the best possible products and the best possible tools so that you can stamp more easily. So this is just regular basic white cardstock. And then grab yourself a Stampin' Pierce mat. Now Stampin' Up sells one. And this is going to give some give when you press down on your stamp with your stamp. It's going to give some give, and that's going to help you with your impression so you don't have to push down as hard. I'm also going to grab just a little piece of scrap computer paper because we're going to kind of stamp off the edges. So I want to make sure I protect the mat so it doesn't get ink all over it. All right. When you're stamping a background, I find it's easier to always use the biggest image first. So I'm going to use this floral image. It's the big flower in the Pretty Perennial stamp set. I'm going to use Rococo Rose. Oh, also, I'm using today Pretty Peacock, Seaside Spray, Rococo Rose. What do these colors have in common? Well, they're all retiring at the end of the month. So they're going to be on the retirement list. Once they get put on the retirement list, they will be while supplies last. So if you like any of these colors, plus we have pale plum, no, purple posy and terracotta tile, but these are my three favorites that are retiring. Once that retirement list, they're while supplies last. So if you like these colors, make sure you pick up an ink refill if you already have the ink pad in all of these colors, and get some extra cardstock. Get the Stampin' Blends that match, because after it's going to be harder to get those at the end of the month. So make sure, don't leave it to the last minute, because people are always disappointed, and then they have to, if they still want them, then they have to pick them up on secondary sources, and then it gets really expensive because then people think you really want them, and you have to pay extra for them. All right, I'm opening up my Rococo Rose, and we're going to start stamping a pattern. Okay, so tap, tap, tap. My right hand is the one that's stamping and tapping. I'm really tapping lightly, but you want to do that anyway with these firm foam ink pads. You don't want to smush them hard into the pad. So my wrist is sore when I twist it. So I'm going to try and keep it straight. I'm coming down here. Standing up really helps, okay? And I'm giving most of my pressure on my left hand, okay? I'm using the right hand to position. And then I'm using my left hand to press down. So let's see, and then I'll put this one here. So with this pattern, you just want to cover it with a lot of pink florals. And then what you're going to do is fill it in with the other blossoms. And your pattern might look a little wonky and not so great, but guess what? Once we cover it up with the other layers, it's going to look so much better. So don't worry about having this perfect pattern right now, because it's not really going to matter. Also, this particular stamp set is pretty forgiving in terms of it has a watercolor look to it. So the images aren't perfection, right? There's some natural whiter spots. So it's going to be easier to stamp with this, especially if you can't stamp 100% like me right now. So then I'll just want to put one more blossom up top here, maybe about like that. Okay. So that's the first layer, just kind of some randomly stamped blossoms. And then we'll put that aside. Let me close it up so I don't get my fingers all over it. Next, we're going to take the next biggest blossom in Seaside Spray. And this is the blossom here. Let me see if I can show you that. Okay. So let's do some fillers in here, and we're going to come in here position, and then I'm going to press down with my left hand. I can still kind of feel like it's sore, but I can work with it. Someone probably on here is going to tell me that I shouldn't be stamping, but sometimes we do things, silly things, when we're not supposed to. Let me see right here. It's good just as long as I don't twist it. And then let me see over here. And then maybe one over here. Okay. So this pattern looks okay. I mean, it's not, I don't know if you ever have a perfect pattern or whatever, but you just want to kind of fill in with a bunch of blossoms. And then we'll try the Pretty Peacock one in the smallest size. We'll do maybe a little bit up here, maybe one here. And one there. Okay, so that is my background. And I normally don't stamp with this surface, this type of surface, but I think it really helped today with the stamping because it did provide a little give when I went stamping down onto here. All right, so next I'm going to create a label with that word happy birthday on it. And so I previously die cut a piece with the middle one. Yeah, well, actually it's not the middle one because there's 6, so there can't be a perfect middle one. So the third largest, I did some die cutting earlier. And then we're going to stamp this with the happy. And I'm going to do the birthday as well, but I'm going to emboss it. So let's grab the Rococo Rose again, and I'm going to stamp this down on here. And lift it off. And then I want to do the happy, just like the original card. It was embossed onto a layer. So let me grab a scrap piece of Pretty Peacock and my Versamark pad. And I'm going to just ink the birthday up in the Versamark. And then I'm going to take some white embossing powder, trying not to twist my wrist, and sprinkle it onto the birthday. Okay, I always dump my embossing powder into these little containers so that it makes it really easy to tap off the excess in here. And I always keep a little, this is a little baby spoon we had, and I just kept it afterwards. It works perfectly for the embossing powders. And then bring in my heat tool. And I'm just going to heat this. And with this embossing powder, especially the white, you can see it change color when it's done. Okay. So then, grab my paper snips. and cut off the end. And you know, I could do this on I could do this on the trimmer, but it's such a small piece that I just would rather do it on like hand cut it. All right. Okay, we're moving along. We're getting our pieces. And then I've got my Rococo Rose again. I've got this little blossom. It's a little different than this one. There's a solid one and then there's kind of an outline one. And I'm going to stamp that on here. And then through the magic, I hope, here it is. I didn't want to have to wheel with my sore wrists, but I guess I should show you how I do that as well. But I cut this out earlier with a die cut. So these die cuts here, this one cuts out this little blossom right here. Okay, so I did that earlier. So we have just one more piece of the card to bring into play. So let me show you how I did that. So I have a piece of Seaside Spray, and this measures 2 inches by 5 inches. And what I want to do is I want to create a little bit of an angle. So to do that, I just took a pencil and made a mark 1 inch up on one of the sides. So just 1 inch up. And the best way to do this is to take a trimmer. And my trimmer is across the room. My cutting station is across the room, so my trimmer is over there. So I'm going to line up my pencil mark and the corner, the opposite corner on here, and then I'm going to trim that, and that's going to provide me with that little angle on there. And then let's give the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine a little whirl. Let's see how that does with my wrist. Let me bring this in. Okay. Let's see if I can do this morning. So for this, this is for number 2 layer is for when you have dies, but this base layer plus plates, the number 3 plates are what you would use for embossing. And then I'm just going to pop this piece in here. If I want the embossed side, the popped up side to come up, I need to put the logo so it's up, and then the point as it would appear on your card. And I find it's better to line up, it's hard to line up the length of it, so I'm going to just try and line it up straight with the top up here. And when that looks good, I'll put all these plates together. And okay, so I can keep my wrist fairly straight as I rotate this through. You can't see my handle. Let me see if I can bring this up a bit. Okay. So I'm just going to keep my wrist really straight. It would be better if I did this. So it's facing, I'm rolling it away from me. That way I can keep my wrist really straight instead of bending it through, and then it's coming through and it's going away from me. That's the best way to roll it rather than side to side like I normally do it. Okay. So let me lift this down. Yeah. Okay. I know I can't put any weight on it because that just hurt lifting the machine to the ground. I should have used my left hand. Okay. I am not going to be able to accomplish very much today. I can tell that much. I could probably type. That's okay. Just like no extra torque on my hand. All right, so I have all the pieces of my card, and I told you about my card base at the beginning. And then I'm going to take some Tombow and give it a little squeeze. It's weird how some things hurt and some things don't. Like that did not hurt at all. And then I'll just add this to the bottom. It's kind of pretty, my pretty paper, right? Doesn't look too bad. This way you can pick, I like 3 colors. When you get too many colors, it gets harder. I think if you have 3 colors is ideal because it's easier to put together. It looks pretty with more colors, but you'd have to be more skilled at picking them and distributing them to make them look good. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my little banner layer about 1/2 inch from the right side. Let me bring this in. Bring my camera back down so it's a little closer. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in this happy layer. And you know, I omitted one of the layers. There was a 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch layer. I didn't add that at all. So, I mean, you can play with the sketch for this card. And also this one comes off the edge, and I decided to bring this in a little bit because I liked the look of that. I tried it both ways, and then I was like, no, I like that scallop edge all the way around, and I want to have a little bit of, so then you kind of just play with this. Where does this look best on your card piece? You might want to cover up part of a flower or something. So I'm going to do that, happy, and then we'll add a little glue to this birthday right here. And that's kind of like how the original card looks. And then I'm going to grab a dimensional and pop it on here. And it's going to end my happy right there. And then I'll take one of these opal rounds, grab it and put it onto here. I love these opal rounds. These are the ones that are in the Jan to June mini catalog. I think it really finishes off the card nicely. They have a definite white to them, but if you hold them up, look, they've got little sparkles in them. It's kind of pretty for a flower center. It's like a pearl, but with a little extra, right? So I really like them, and they're nice. They're neutral. When you get colored embellishments, then you have to put them on cards that match that color scheme. When you have like regular pearls or these sparkly opal rounds, they're just wonderful because you can use them with anything. So there is my card, stamped with a sore wrist and all. And look at all the stamping I did. Like, I really did a lot of stamping on there. So it's definitely possible. And if you want to make these cards like this, you will need the Pretty Perennials Bundle. I'll just point out again, this stamp set here has really nice words on it as well as images. And we don't, sometimes we have stamps that have just images, or sometimes we have stamps that have just words. And then we have some that have a combo, and this one has a combo. So, you know, we make a lot of birthday cards as card makers. So this one's really nice. Happy birthday. Happy for you, sending lots of happy mail, you make me happy. You know, it's a really nice stamp set, a very positive stamp set. And look at the pretty paper background you can make, and you can definitely change out the color scheme. But if you like these colors, don't forget, they are going to be retiring soon. All right, I'm coming back over to you. Good morning, everyone. Oh, I want to make sure just want to make sure I had all my tips. I think I talked about all my tips naturally. The last one was like to go slow. Don't try and stamp really quickly. Take some time when you're stamping with a service that, you know, just make your movements like with thought so that you don't hurt yourself further. So good morning, Miran and Geraldine. And Karen, good morning, good morning, good morning, Janine and Holly and Philomena. We've got 2 Karens on here this morning. It's a collection. It's good to have you here. And Sue and Alice and Teresa. Thank you for sharing, Alice. And anytime you share my video, I really appreciate it because it helps other people see my stuff, and that's always a good thing. Good morning, Dee and Holly. Karen says she really likes the font on the Happy. Yes, it's a really pretty font. I love the scripty fonts, and I love them when they pair them with a different font. You know, because originally when we started stamping, we tended to like have fonts that were matchy-matchy, and now the different fonts play off really nicely together. It kind of makes it pretty, right? Holly says she loves the opal rounds. I do too. I think they're great because you can really use them on everything, and they're neutral. They don't steal the show, but they add just the perfect amount of bling. So if you've overlooked the opal rounds, this would be a good time to pick them up. They're in the Jan to June mini catalog. It's this catalog right here. If you don't have a catalog, drop me a line and let me know that you need one. So it's this catalog here, and it's going to run till the end of June. Our annual catalog is coming to a close soon, but our mini catalog is going on through June. So, and in here, the nice thing about having a catalog is you get some extra samples in the catalog. So there is the Pretty Perennials Bundle that we talked about today. And then I can't remember what page, was it page 15? What page? Oh, it was this one. On page 13 was the sample that we used today, right? So that's cool. Like that's how we create our Casing Tuesday samples, is right from this catalog. So if you need one, just let me know. And good morning, Ellie and Lori. So good to have you here. And if you're just jumping on now, I'm almost at the end, so you can go back from the beginning and watch the beginning. I'm also going to put this video over onto YouTube so that it's there with the collection of all my other videos. So I think I talked about everything. Oh, the last thing, and I keep forgetting to do this, I have to this month's special with my host code is that for every $50 you spend, you're going to get a pack of my Retired Designer Series paper for free. And you might say, why would I want your retired 6x6 paper? Well, I package it up really nicely, and 6x6 paper is really easy to use because it's already smaller, and I've got a bunch of 6x6 projects on my blog that you can use to make things with. So if you spend $150, you're going to get 3 packs. And next Casing Tuesday, I'm going to bring up, I've already got some package. I'm going to bring it up here so that I can show you guys kind of what the paper packs look like, because they're so cute. You know, they're packaged in a little cellophane bag, and so you're going to really enjoy it when you get it. Okay, just one last thing. If you liked my Casing Tuesday video and you want to see more of me, I am live on YouTube on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Fridays, I either do a fancy fold card or I do a 3D project. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do this week. It's always a fun surprise, even for me. But I'm sure you're going to love it. So if you want to see me live, you can go over there. And for my Friday videos, I always have a project sheet, but you need to be part of my email list. So if you want to get those project sheets on Saturdays, you'll need to be on my email list. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on Friday. I hope you don't have a sore wrist, but if you do, I hope this video helped today. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.